up?
I can hear you.
Alright, sounds good then. Everything's recording on my end, so you don't have to worry about fucking up again.
Okay.
Yeah, because I realized that this part is going to be in the recording, just to let you know, that fucking 2.5 hours, that was so awesome. There was so much shit that was left out. I mean, it was fucking mind-blowing. Conversations were amazing, and arguments were destroyed, and it's all gone now. It's all fucking gone now.
Well, I don't think it was that bad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
First hour we got most of the good stuff in the first hour, I think.
Truth. Alright. So,
talking about programming and stuff too, that would have driven people crazy. So,
fuck them. I don't speak to interest people.
Yeah.
That's not what this is about.
It might be one of our flaws in our strategy.
Oh, might be some note takers on the joining the conversation thing.
Might be some who?
Note takers on the joining the conversation thing.
Yeah, well, nobody DM'd me, so I guess nobody emailed you. So
no, sir.
I'll just keep trying. You know, I don't know what your deal is. I mean, you're kind of being mysterious, but I guess that's your right. You know.
I'm cruising, man. You know, I will be back. Everything will be explained, but at the moment, I'm in a position to where I need to uproot everything and move everything, and things that I currently have online might cause a hindrance to that until I am settled, and then everything can come back. Essentially, you know what I mean?
No, it's really weird. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm usually not like that. I mean, I have my address on my fucking YouTube and everything, so.
Movies, you know, a pain in the ass, but it usually doesn't mean that you have to close down your phone and close down your internet. I mean, you know, usually you just move.
Yeah, well, closing down on well, put it this way. I mean, it's serious enough as to where, you know, where I'm moving and the conditions under which I am moving. It would be a whole lot easier if people couldn't type in my name on the internet and find all these things. It would be great. Until I'm there, and then they can't really do much about it. So check her out.
Well, I know, but that doesn't, you know, that is just so veiled in, like, oh, what, you've got guys, the IRS is after you? I mean, what's...
No, there's an international gang of pedophiles that are...
it's got to be a second gang or something, right?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe I'm doing some clandestine shit. Maybe I'm...
And maybe you are, because obviously you are. So, yeah.
Well, you'll never know. Well, you will know soon, anyway. So, I mean, hey, listen, adding a little bit of mystery to my otherwise boring fucking life for everyone might gain me like 3 or more people that'll care. So it is what it is.
Drama horror.
Okay. Fuck you. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I was thinking about this whole thing, chicken before the egg thing. So I mean, I realize that you've sort of went through, you know, your roots and how you got to this, and sort of like you sort of came to these conclusions when you were about 7 years old. But what I'm trying to figure out is, like I said, the egg or the chicken, which came first? Did the whole suffering matters thing come first, or did the whole not wanting to have life keep creating itself to open itself up to the whole suffering thing? Like, which one did you come to first?
Well, you know, it's kind of hard to say, right? I mean, they just kind of, I mean, I can't say that I philosophically had any real comfort in arguing against the idea of life at 5 years old, right? I mean, obviously I didn't have any capacity to do that, and I was definitely dissatisfied with the gameplay, okay? So, yeah, my first conscious impressions were, you know, even though I didn't have the word fuck in my vocabulary, it was definitely a what the fuck kind of experience. I didn't just comfortably slide into life. I came into being conscious, being very curious and very hostile to all the rules. Okay, there was rules about what I could touch, rules about what I could know, rules about where I could go, rules about everything. And on top of that, there were these rules outside that said, you know, if you walk on the road in bare feet, your feet are going to melt off. If you do this, you're going to get run over. If you do that, something's going to do this. If you go out here, if you touch this bug, it's going to sting you and your face is going to blow up. You know, there's all this, you know, incredibly, it all seemed really, really, like, really sloppy gameplay. Like, really, you know, I was a bit of a Felix Unger. I mean, I was a bit of a control freak, I guess, in the sense that I just found it way too sloppy. And I was struggling, say as I got a little bit older, 6, yeah, not much older, right? You know, from like 3 to 5, I was kind of just angsty, and then by the time I was 6 or 7, I was starting to get kind of desperate to find my identity. And, you know, I started getting to the whole ego thing, and, you know, then, so I started to find, like, oh, this is how you play the game. You do something stupid. Somebody says, eat a bug's head, and you do it, and, you know, they dare you. And, you know, so it was like this kind of, you know, I got caught up in that kind of way of just playing life, but that was totally unsatisfactory too. So I mean, yeah, then it just was just totally not satisfactory. And I lived in the South, and it was just, the people were unknowable. There was no way you couldn't, it was like living with chimpanzees. I mean, literal chimpanzees. Could not communicate with them. They knew no concept of a deep thought would never, there's just no way.
Wait, how far south are we talking though?
Louisiana, it's south enough. I mean, I'm saying that I developed no human relationship.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say. So everything I understood about the world, I sort of had to understand through my own observation and my own deduction. So I guess is what I'm saying is I didn't have any mentor or much of a guidepost. My parents were busy. My father worked a lot. My mother was a little bit psychotic. She had 4 kids in 4 years. And so I was just kind of picking through it on my own. And I wasn't, I didn't see any real solid answers. I mean, I didn't see anything that said, this is why this makes, I just saw the opposite. It's like you got, you know, my family wasn't hugely religious, but they were religious enough. Every week we did this church thing, and it was such a farce and a joke. You know, and you're saying these are the people that are running the world, these silly people doing these silly rituals.
Yeah.
You know, let's sing a silly song to Jesus, and you're like, what the hell is this about? Jesus likes to be sung to? I mean, the whole thing just was silly. You know, I couldn't make any sense out of it. And you're saying these people are running the world, and you know, when you start to doubt authority, when you start to doubt the credibility of the adults around you, yeah, life gets really kind of spooky. So I guess what I'm saying is I definitely grew up receptive to any kind of philosophical idea that might say maybe humans haven't got it right yet.
Have you gone through, like, did you ever go through, like, a period where you're like, well, I mean, obviously, you're more than likely going to say no to this given the story you just gave me, but did you ever go through a period where you're like, man, fuck all this junk, I'm going to do this for me, and fuck bitches and get whores, and did you ever, were you ever like, you know, let's play this fucking piece of shit, you know what I mean?
Well, it was too much. I was, by nature, like I said, especially when I was young, I was a real fail-safer. You know, I was really looking for, well, this is the weird thing, right? Because when it was showtime, I would take a dare and do things that were incredibly reckless, right? If somebody said, you know, climb through the sewer pipe and pop out that storm drain down the road, I dare you, I would do it. Okay, but if it was something of my own volition, like if I had a choice to go somewhere or not go somewhere, I'd always choose not going. Because I would always calculate the hassles and the risks. And I would always say, it's not worth it. You know what I mean? The downside is always worse than the upside. So I couldn't be bothered, or they had to drag me everywhere because I had no interest in doing anything. I mean, you would have to seduce me with an awful big, like, you know, we're going to go to Santa Claus's actual workshop. You're going to get a ton of free stuff. You'd have to seduce me with some kind of awful lot of a pride to get me to say, yeah, I want to go somewhere.
Right. So then fast forward to the internet YouTube years, you've made the website for Mendham, New Jersey, essentially. You've made your own little subsection of that subnet of a website there. You start making videos because you want to be on public access TV. Fast forward a little bit more, and I mean, YouTube at one point was, hey, look at this retard. He fucking did a backflip on a bike and broke his neck. Ha ha ha. So when did you sort of realize that people were talking to each other on the internet, and you're like, ah, fuck it, let's try it, you know? When did you figure that out?
Well, really, pretty soon on. I mean, you click on a YouTube video. I didn't have broadband. I was just doing Juno and AOL accounts and that kind of stuff. And so as soon as I got broadband, you're saying, okay, I've heard about all this video shit, now I'm going to go look at it. So, yeah, I went to, like, YouTube and watched the Oompa Loompa guy or whatever the hell he was, some guy who sang a song, fat guy. And, that was a famous video, and you watch the Panda video, and then you do a search, then you see the search bar, and you say, okay, I'll search. And, yeah, I searched on something, God or whatever it was I chose, I don't remember. And yeah, all these videos pop up, and so you start to watch videos, and I can't recall if I saw somebody first, but I mean, the people that were there talking were like the Brett Keane with Big Ben, Captain Awesome, Amazing Atheist was there, but he wasn't nearly Woody, the Thing he is now. The Thing.
Was this long hair TJ like sort of like really calm and subdued a voice?
Like he wasn't that much greater than everybody else.
Right.
He wasn't making nearly as many videos, and they weren't. He was just in his garage yelling kind of guy. So it wasn't. I'm saying he wasn't the Thing. Captain Awesome was probably more of a Thing.
See, I thought I pegged you for a much sooner jumper-inner type of player in the early days. I would have swore I would have pegged you for jumping in right around the same time Brett Keane did, but I guess not.
Well, I would have been earlier. I'm just saying that the only thing that stopped me from getting there was just I didn't have broadband.
Right.
My dial-up connection, there's no way you could have messed with video. You just didn't do that. It was just way too big a mistake.
Yeah, because I mean, like, I don't remember who your first, let's say, exchanging of arguments was with, but the first person that I remember you interacting with on YouTube was actually a human being sitting on your couch, and then you posted the video. That's what I remember anyway.
Yeah, well, like I said, I had made some public television,
right.
Public access TV, some shows for public access TV, and so those were the first videos I put on YouTube. And then I just augmented those by starting to make videos on my own, and regular YouTube videos. And the people I first communicated with were the Modern Mystic and Matt Thou Art That, and I can't. There was a couple of others. There was a couple of people that unfortunately have passed on and such.
Yeah.
And it was just these conversational type style videos, just talking about the truth and what reality is, and but then soon enough you end up getting into some sort of drama with somebody, and then that's where it all went bad. Was when it started getting to Virtual Holocaust, Fake Sagan,
right.
And the Amazing Atheist, and everything turned to shit.
Now that right there was like, for me, that was like the apex of everything. You know what I'm saying? Like that's when like entertainment value meant content, like met the content value, and sort of was like just enough ponage to keep my younger mind interested, but just enough content to get my mind going and switch my brain on to new things. You know what I'm saying? But like, right around there, like, obviously you started at a little bit of a later time, but when did, like, people, like, was, like, people like Fred already there? Not like Fred Conference Report, but Fred, like, hey, it's Fred, like, those assholes. Were they already taking up too much of the spotlight, and you sort of, like, knew that these conversations really weren't going to get too widespread, or, like, where were you at that point?
Well, I mean, Fred wasn't even born then, Fred hadn't hatched yet. But obviously there were these people that were catching on. There was this idea of popularity was starting to happen.
Right.
And there was this, Brett, like I say, Brett Keane was pretty popular back then.
Right.
And and so people would see something and they'd try to imitate it or try to go with that thing or whatever. And it was, I concede that I did try to make videos that were more of a production. Like you're trying to make a point in it.
Right.
all that kind of stuff and the pony shit. You try to do it in kind of some kind of fun way, some kind of creative way. And somewhere along the lines there, I sort of gave up on that idea. Maybe it was, I made the Gnuses for a while, and they're very popular with a subset of people who really, really like them. But yeah, it doesn't go anywhere. It's like the actual Gun News, which was a really well-produced program. She couldn't get any traction at all, and she was producing really good content. And so you sort of got the idea that this YouTube thing ran on some other kind of mechanism. Like, it wasn't about being good. It was about being good to the right audience. And maybe that's what it's about, is realizing that maybe most of the audience is 15-year-olds or something, or a 15-year-old mentality anyway. And that, unless if you're not willing to go that low, where you actually have to tell the people watching to subscribe to your channel, and you have to tell them to like your video, and you have to tell them to, wipe their mouth. Someone said, what am I really fighting for? So there was a point where I just gave up on that, just said, well, I'm just going to do this for my own purposes, my own practice. So I'm going to have arguments, and I'm going to see if I can win arguments, and that's all I'm going to do.
Right, and that's sort of what got you into like the more heavily. That's right around where I started jumping in when you started making more of that, because like I had to sort of like go back into your library to see the last of the GNUs, and I think like that was like you said, the last production value thing you did, and then the only really surviving organ from that whole thing is the what the fuck, from what I can imagine. Like, what the fuck is the only thing that survived out of some of the things that you've tried to do other than just make arguments, you know what I mean?
And you can see I've given up on that in a way.
Yeah.
Do it, but I mean, I don't even take notes. I don't bother trying to see what other people are doing in the community, quote unquote. I just kind of do a complaint video on a Saturday.
Yeah, dude, you sure let yourself go. What the fuck? It's not even fuck. It's like sort of like, well, Thunderfoot made a video. Fuck it. Anyway, let's go to the comments. it's like, well, whatever. And then that's the news for today. Anyway, this asshole made a comment, so I drew a cock on his head. Fuck it. You know what I mean? It's really gotten down to its really nitty gritty these days. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
a lot of assholes.
Part of that is that it's just that kind of atmosphere. I mean. Yeah. What happened to Fred? I mean, you are just dealing with assholes. I mean, most of your commenters are trolls and jackasses. Most of the people watching the videos are assholes. I mean, it's just true, and it's just kind of discouraging. And there's a point where you say, why should I invest any of myself in this shit?
I heard he's back though. I mean, I was talking of Warbles, and he said Fred was reinstating all his shit, and he was coming back.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to go that far, but
what's the status? If you can give a status, I'm not,
Well, I've heard from Fred, but I mean, it's just, I don't have any news.
Right.
I'm not gonna commit him to anything. So,
right.
There's part of what, I mean, I'm just like me. I mean, Fred's in the same position, right? There's this kernel of people on this medium that you just would, you would jump on a grenade for. I mean, they are just such valuable friggin' people. They're the best people you've met in your life, kind of people, and so you're stuck with that seed. It's there, but it's in this cesspool. I mean, it's like these diamonds are, just at the bottom of this dirty, stinking cesspool called YouTube. And you really want to keep the diamonds, but it really sucks that you have to keep wallowing in this sea of just the slime and scum of the earth. I mean, these are these trolly, unaccountable, faceless turds that show up and just rag because they think they have some sort of right to be an asshole. You're just like, oh, what do you mean you have a right to be an asshole? I mean, this is just stupid.
Yeah, Chris turned on that fucker too, man. I mean, that guy's unliked everywhere. I
mean, it's like I would never, like if I was running the world, I mean, these people would be just shot. I mean, they are just garbage. What use is it? What use is it communicating with people who think they have a right to just walk by, throw shit at you, and run away? I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah, not even a fair fight. That bald-headed fuck.
Oh yeah, well he's just one of these examples of people just get they get this ego thing. They claim we're the ones with the egos. No, they're the ones with the ego problem.
Yeah, Chris tore him a new asshole in a couple of videos. When I say Chris, I mean Warbles on a lot there. Fucking, he turned on him too. So he's not liked fucking anywhere. Quintic or whatever the fuck his name is has no friends at this point. So I don't think we'll be seeing too much of him after a certain point.
Yeah, but you do, because I've already seen...
Well, I mean, not just Quintica. Another asshole will pop up in his place if he doesn't stay.
Well, I'm just saying, I've seen him comment on a couple of videos that other people make, and you're almost saying, like, this is part of the nonsense. There's people who are so for free speech that they're not for what you need to be free to speak. You have no free speech if every time you open your mouth, some asshole's going to try to throw rotten shit in it.
Right.
That's this whole, so it's like, why shouldn't everybody have this asshole blocked? Why should he be allowed to comment on anybody's video? Why would anyone let him advertise, essentially, on their video?
So let me just get this straight, just a quick rundown. Essentially, Fred put some very artistic things up on certain channels, and he decided that he would take that information and forward it to his job, right? So it would make his job sort of look on Fred a little less palatable than they already did, or whatever?
Well, yeah, he ran way... Right. He took something like, YouTube will screw us over, right? If you complain to YouTube and flag videos, you can get us taken down.
Right.
So that wasn't good enough for this guy. He had to take it he had to go the next level and get way into somebody's personal life. And that's like, I said, I've had these assholes do this crap to me too, and it's just like, wow, why do they think they should have this kind of power?
Right.
It's just amazing. And these are the people talking about freedom, and you're saying, well, where's the freedom in this? Why, who the hell would put up with this crap, to be on YouTube? No, I'm sorry. It's too high a price to pay. And I certainly wouldn't want it happening to my 15-year-old daughter.
Absolutely not. And I mean, just to slightly further explain, my clandestine privature of my upload library, it's in a similar vein. It's not in a similar vein that I'm afraid of, a single person, because I have my fucking address on there, I have my real name and everything. But the thing is the situation that I'm in right now, for the very short foreseeable future until I become established, I need to be socially palatable. You see what I'm saying? So pretend it was more or less like a job interview kind of thing. You can't really have what Fred had up there, and you can't... You know what I mean? Because people Google your fucking name now to get a job, and specifically where I'm going, that is a very real possibility. So, for the very short term, I have to be as socially palatable as possible, and certain things that I've said on the internet are not the most palatable and social things that you can possibly put up there. So, but to come back up, I haven't deleted anything and blah blah blah. But I'm just maybe I'm going a little bit too overboard with it, but. Just wait till I have a roof over my head, because essentially I'm going to be homeless very soon. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to do the best I can right now. No, I haven't murdered anybody, all right? So I haven't sold any drugs, and I'm running away from the mafia, nothing like that. So she is what she is.
It's got to be better safe than sorry, as they say. So.
Very true, very true. But yeah, that's the extent of it. Nothing too crazy, nothing too crazy. Just got to leave New York and have to go for greener pastures. And once I get under those greener pasture roofs, or whatever the fuck you want to call them, it'll be good.
Going, or are you still figuring out where to go?
I am figuring her out as we go. Essentially, everything must go. Fire sale in the old Shumpy residence. Everything is everything's essentially sold or to be sold, and I'm packing up a duffel bag, my dog, and some clothes, and I'm cruising in less than 30 days. Outski.
Yeah, I know. Do you know where you're going yet?
No. Not at the moment. Not at the moment. I'm not 100%. But I have a couple pieces of bait in the water, and I have a few nibbles, and I'm pretty sure that if worse came to worse, I know for a fact I'd have a place. So that's not the worst thing. It's not maybe the most desirable, but if everything were to fall through, I know that I would have a place. Might not be the most desirable, like I said, but I'm good. You know what I mean?
Okay. I'm just saying the place next door is still vacant, so.
Nice.
If you can make $1,000 a month,
That would be beautiful. Look at that, New Jersey, dude. You know what we'll do? We'll make a we'll make a YouTube community. We'll have a town square. We'll make our own town inside of Mendham.
Well, I'm really thinking someday that's the way to go. I mean, bring back the commune attitude, but with the right kind of, leadership.
You know what? I was actually going to bring that up last time or whatever, but we got tired. I'm not really good at the law too much. I do a lot of work for legal representation. I do a lot of work for, government bodies locally and a lot of lawyers locally and blah, blah, blah. But can you, and this might sound fucking stupid because I don't know what I'm talking about, but can you, buy, a farm, right? And then sort of be like, hey, this is my farm and this is the town of me, and here's a house, and we're going to just stay here and nobody fuck with us. Can you do that, or is that not legal?
Well, it's legal, but you have to go through a legal process to do it. So,
Right.
say New Jersey has a ton of municipalities, right? 500-600 of them.
Right.
They're little baby corporations, basically, or whatever you want to call them. And, they're independent functioning units. So you basically first have to file to separate from the town you're in already. Because obviously somebody's probably claiming you. Wherever you go, some town is claiming the property, no doubt.
Right, because you got to give a taste. You got to kick up to somebody a little higher than you because you can't, right?
Then you have to make a claim that you have a right to separate from the town.
Right.
And so once you separate, then you have to incorporate, but that means that comes with burdens too, because then you have to pay a certain little percentage to the state. You have to do certain little things. But the good news is, you can avoid property taxes and all that kind of crap.
Right. So say what is the number that's feasible? You can't just do it yourself unless you're a rich motherfucker. You have to have 10 dudes or 15 or where are we going with this? How many would you have to make it not stress on everyone?
Yeah, well, that's the hard ticket to sell. I mean, you just I can't. It's hard to say what you need in terms of a population. I don't know if that's as important as having a mission.
Well, I'm just saying spreading the money around, like you said, percentages and this and that. How many people would you have to spread that out to where it's not a huge weight in your wallet? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess I'm not getting there. I mean,
okay. Well, what I'm saying is, say it costs $1,000. You don't want to have to pay $1,000. So if you got 10 people, each of them paid $100 or whatever the fuck. So how many people would you have to put on your farm to where it wasn't a huge financial burden for just a very small group of people? Or does that even matter? Does everybody have to pay the percentage anyway?
Yeah, I guess I'm just not getting your question.
All right, awesome. Good. So my powers of communications are fucking awesome.
Yeah, well, I say that you're probably just better off paying property taxes in some town.
Right.
Because it's going to cost you a bit to get free. That's
right.
Yeah, it's not going to be $1,000. It's going to be a lot more than that.
Right. So so essentially, what are these? And I realize that I'm not talking to a city planner or anything, but what are okay, so you want to do it, okay, and you're okay, so I want to distance myself from this Judge Melinda Hardin asshole. I want to separate myself from these assholes. I no longer want to kick up taxes and support these pieces of shit political career. I kind of want to live in the same area, but I just want to be free of these fucking assholes. I don't want police on. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be a part of your society, but I'll kick up something just so you stay the fuck out of my business, sort of thing.
I don't know. I guess you're going to have to get your genetics changed and get changed into an American Indian, and then you can get a right to go to a reservation. Because you can't get free. You can't get free of state.
Yeah.
So, that's in counties, you're impossible. You can't get free of that stuff.
No.
At best, like I said, you can maybe incorporate your own town. So you find a town that's pretty much had it, that's beat, and, you try to finance buying up most of the property, 51% of it, and then you can run the show.
No, that's not the worst thing in the world. I guess, if you have the money. Not someone on choose.
They're there, I mean, people have done it. Kim Basinger, I remember she the actress, she bought some little town somewhere. She went bankrupt, but whatever. I mean, she did do it.
Yeah, Kim Basinger used to be pretty hot, too.
No, it used to be. But, I think, it's still pretty hot. but yeah, I mean, people, probably, you know, one of DNA's best creations.
Yes, sir. All right. So going back to what people are doing now, and the reason why I brought up the whole commune thing is, sort of going back to the Blogger thing. I mean, while it's not an actual physical commune, right? It's going to have to be an internet commune, and I know that we spoke about this last time, right? But now that more people are feeling the persecution of these Quintica type assholes, you know what I mean? There's going to be more people wanting to get there, you know what I mean? So have you been in contact with more people to sort of get this thing rolling, or are we still at the same stagnant point to where you have to find a host and all that?
Yeah, well, I still have to do some of the background stuff. I mean, I still haven't decided what to do about hosting.
Yeah.
But that'll be my problem, and that's not that big a deal. You just do it when you have to. I'll just do what I'm doing now and just pay for it.
Right. Well, I mean, I know that you guys, there's a couple of you guys out there who have your own separate things, but wouldn't it be more, effective to just sort of bite the bullets in certain aspects that you guys don't exactly get along in and try to just join forces and get something more popular going, you know what I mean? Maybe get a U-doubled and a Vloggerdome and put those together and then add that with whatever else is out there?
Well, I just don't think there's a market for it yet. So I just don't see the point in it. We don't need more sites for people to put up videos where they're picking their nose. You know what I mean? Right. Most people don't have anything to say. To tell you the truth, as much as this looks like it's easy, it's not as easy as people think it is. To be a credible arguer on the internet. There's just, I'm just saying, there's just not. There's no point in creating a medium for people just to talk out of their ass. You know what I'm saying? If they don't have something really useful to say, then why provide? I don't need to provide. They can do it on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? They can stay on YouTube. I'm more interested in the content that YouTube will censor, and I'm more interested in, creating a medium where people will be interested, where content is focused, and it's focused to an audience that has some sort of capacity to understand the content.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so you and Pyro are no longer together on this, or you're too far at odds with the way that you want to go with this to really join forces on it anymore?
No, I think we're both sitting in a place where we're just not sure. So, he's doing the cloud server thing. I'm not sure about that one. But it's, there's still these mechanisms that don't exist yet. There's still no audience. You still have to create a framework where you can drive enough traffic to justify the work that might take to create an infrastructure. So, like I said, I'm working on it, and this is going to be part of what I'm working on. It's changing the format of my conversation. Having discussions instead of just video exchanges. But I also want to have video exchanges that are incredibly focused and disciplined. And, people have been talking about this. Laura Layla made a video about how do you judge, the credibility of something. Like, say you're having a contest and you're going to judge who wins. What kind of standards are used, or what kind of authority does that? How do you do that? When it sometimes isn't. Well, she didn't put it very well. To me, there is an expertise. There is a qualification, but we can see that in so many areas where qualifications don't matter. I mean, the Nobel Prize gets awarded to jerks, and you're just sometimes saying, who's deciding who gets these prizes?
Yeah, Obama got the fucking Nobel Prize for being the first black president, essentially. For novelty. He essentially won the prize for being a novelty.
Yeah, well, I mean, they all get it, and so I don't even think it was because it was black. I think it was just because that's what they've decided, to give every American president a Nobel Prize.
Oh, really? Well, I didn't even know that.
Well, I'm just saying that's what it looks like to me.
Oh.
I mean, they gave it to Bush, too, didn't they?
I'm not sure. Apparently, I don't know.
Yeah, they did. So,
Yeah, probably. Fuck it.
It's just a whack. It doesn't mean anything. So I'm just saying, here you have a credible authority that's kind of just, lets everything... and then you say, well, look at the NASA. NASA's been really sloppy in the way it announces stuff. It's had a couple of, embarrassing announcements, where it says it has some scientific discovery and it doesn't have anything. It's got a bag of nothing. And you're saying, well, what kind of authorities are allowing that mistake to take place?
That cat is not interested in this conversation in any way, shape, or form.
Deal with that.
Cat's like, fuck your conversation. I want food. Oh, man. How old is that cat, dude? That cat's like 17 years old now, isn't he?
No, I don't think it's not that old. It's a breed that doesn't live that long, so, but he's whatever. He's past his prime, I'd say, but, well, doing alright.
He's a fang-having little motherfucker, though. Those fangs are like 4 inches long, man. That's serious.
Yeah, he still knows how to complain.
Yeah, nice cat. I've actually never seen a cat with such severe fangs. Like, do they just get that when they're more outdoorsy, or is that just like a thing in his genetics that, like, it's just for him?
I think it's that breed. I mean, they're like, they call them different things, but they're like Russian Greys or whatever they're called. But I had one previous to this. I had a cat looked pretty much the same, a little bit bigger. And, he had the same fangs, the same, it's just the same cat, except didn't have a broken leg. But yeah, I mean, they're just badass cats,
So have any more showed up now that it's sort of been wintry, or is he really the only one?
Well, he's the only one that comes inside. There's always, 2 or so that come outside to eat, and the players change, year in and year out. There's, a new one will show up, one will leave, that kind of thing.
So how's Jersey looking now after that catastrophe with, the hurricane?
Well, I mean, depends on where you look.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's front yard looks okay, but yeah, the backyards aren't too good.
Damn.
The woods, behind my house is just decimated. I haven't gone up the mountain. I'd be curious to see how much damage was done. There's a stream that goes way up a mountain here. And, maybe in the spring I'll take a walk up there, but I imagine it's just, just a mess.
So oceanfront, like, I don't know if you go near the oceanfront at all, but that's still completely fucked.
Well, they shouldn't be, I mean, obviously the ocean is, can be a real pain in the ass, but I mean, realistically, a lot of that shit was just building houses on sandbars.
Right.
I mean, frankly, in my opinion, that's just dumb as dumb can get. I mean, let's build a house on a sandbar. I mean, that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, like those fucking houses on stilts, like, sticking halfway out into the ocean. Like, if a really good fucking wave came by, your fucking $1 million house is gone. That's so stupid.
I mean, I'm sorry that people are all, they're fucked.
Right.
I sort of had to figure they're going to be fucked eventually, so it's not my fault that I'm not being as sympathetic as I should be, but, I mean, I'm just saying, you had to know this was coming someday.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't live in such a fucking place, you know what I mean? Especially with these natural disasters coming around, but then again, like what happened down in Louisiana and shit like that, those people aren't going to fucking ever leave either.
Yeah, well, they shouldn't ever rebuild. They should give up on New Orleans. It's going to be in the ocean, in more years it's going to be an island, a sunken island. It's going to be Atlantis. New Orleans is going to be the new Atlantis. It's going to be literally underwater.
Yeah. And who's going to miss it?
Well, that's the other part of it. I don't want to get personal, but yeah, fuck. Excuse my French.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, screw the whole... because the southern half of the United States fell into the ocean. I wouldn't miss it.
I don't know too many people down there. I mean, Florida's just too... I don't understand why people like going to Florida. I was in Florida in fucking July, and I wanted to commit suicide every single time I stepped outside. You can't live in... No. You cannot live in Florida and be a human. What are you talking about? It's too fucking hot. You'll die. It gets like 4,000 fucking degrees, and it feels like you're swimming in the air.
I know, but I mean, I grew up in Louisiana, and like I said, I never even thought it was hot.
Oh, Lord.
I didn't really have a concept of too hot. I mean, it was just like, yeah, it's just hot, yeah. You deal with it.
Man, people are built completely different. I'll tell you what, man, I wish it snowed 24/7 year round. I love the snow. I like the hominess it feels. I like the way everything looks clean. I like the way the air breathes in. Everything feels fresh. The fucking summer is just oppressive as fuck. Everything's hot and you're just sitting there with your arms like a wet bird and you're just fucked all the time. I hate it. Hate everything about it. Yeah. Not to get too petty in the conversation, but...
Well, I'm just saying, yeah, it's all kind of subjective crap, so who cares?
Right.
Yeah.
No, okay, so anyway, going back to what we were talking about of the early days of YouTube, like, who did you, I mean, because eventually, whenever you have these conversations with people, there becomes a point to where they're just like, well, Mendham, you're crazy, welfare guy, or something, or they just come up with some sort of crazy accusation, and they're like, fuck you, you smell funny. Like, have you ever been in a conversation that's gotten into, like, a really serious conversation that you didn't exit enemies? Like, who would be your favorite, like who did you have a meaningful conversation with that you're not an enemy with right now?
Well, I'm not enemies with them.
Well, you know what I mean.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, I'm very, you know, I'll concede I'm kind of an asshole. I mean, in the sense that I'm very unyielding,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, I had a recent thing where I got mad at Edible Napalm, and, I mean, he's a very nice guy, really hard to dislike. I really do like him. But yeah, there's certain lines I just won't let people cross, and if they cross them, I'm going to say, no, you're not my friend, screw you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's my, I'm not going to say it's my bad, because frankly, I want my friends to have the same attitude. I want them to care enough to be pissed off if I do something really stupid. I mean, it's just that simple, right? If I'm an asshole, I want my friends to say, F you, stop being an asshole.
So who would you say that you've had that didn't end up the way of Edible Napalm is what I'm trying to say. Like, who did you have a conversation with that you might have...
Me and Piro have argued over the years. You know, we've had some heated exchanges. I've blocked him 50 times. And, we get past it. The Modern Mystic, we don't have a good relationship, but it's, we can't really communicate in a constructive way, but we have respect for each other, I'd say. Me and Fred, I mean, we're not enemies in any real way, like in a personal way. We're just enemies in a style way,
That was a really strange switch for him to make. I mean, I saw him as on your side of the camp for the longest time, and then literally within 2 videos, he appeared to be the exact opposite. Like, did it feel that same way to you, or did you always just sort of know he was on the other side of the camp with that issue?
I was pushing him, so, I mean, that's part of the thing. Yeah, I wanted him to go, I'm just sick of the wishy-washy crap. I mean, of all the things I hate fence walkers. I hate it's like I hate agnostics more than I hate religious fundamentalists. I hate this idea that somebody say they don't even have the balls to say, no, I'm a freaking atheist. I don't want to hear this word agnostic. It's a stupid word. I'm agnostic on whether or not Mickey Mouse is a real mouse. No, I'm not fucking agnostic on a stupid premise. And religion is a stupid premise. It's a made-up premise. Why should you be agnostic? You should be as hostile to that truth as you are any other lie. Any other lie of the human race, people aren't agnostic. You know what I mean? They don't go around saying, I'm agnostic on some other lie the human race has come up with.
I mean, I guess that's one of the most major traits to your personality. Some people don't see their agnosticism or their fence sitting as such an offensive trait, but I guess that's what people should know the most about you, and not all that little petty shit. It's just that you have no deference for anything but the severe, really. I mean, like, I see you having more respect for an Anacontavod than you do, who the fuck sits in the middle that you don't like? Greytex, there you go. Perfect fucking example. I see you having more respect for an Anacontavod than a fucking Greytex, which is, it would seem weird at first glance, but it really isn't from what you're saying right now.
Well, I'm just saying, I'd rather have an enemy than somebody who's, shining up to me, but he's, ready to stab me in the back kind of thing, and that's what these fence sitters are. You know what I'm saying? You can't trust them, because you can't let them, they can't fight on either side, they just get in the way. They just waste your bullets when you're trying to shoot. I'm trying to get to Hitler, and there's a bunch of whatever, I don't know. I don't. That's not a good metaphor. I'll come up with some other metaphor, but you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to get to the real deal, and I have to get through all these idiots dancing on the fence.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm looking at it as a war. It's not. This isn't a non-important thing, right? So to me, everything's always been important. If something's wrong, you fix it. You don't sit around and just keep it broken. And so these fights are really important from my perspective. This is the game. This is all there is the fixing these things that need to be fixed. And they can't be fixed. Agnostics aren't going to fix them, and the fundamentals aren't going to fix them. So I'm just saying agnostics are just in my way. I can't headshot the fundamentalists with the damn agnostics in my way.
So I mean, like, I mean, you would even concede that throughout your quote unquote career, there's been waxing and wanes of the level of argument, and in my opinion, we're in a really, 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 really deep valley. Yeah, I mean, you're arguing with some random fat dude you found on the comment section that was just a rude motherfucker, and he really doesn't have that much to say, you know. And now we're back to the Photoshop level of argument, you know what I mean? And where the fuck are these people that are supposed to be huge proponents against this? Like, why can't you force the Thunderfoots to not cop out in the magic sandwich type way? Like, where the fuck are these people that have these convictions against these philosophies, but they won't be severe about it? Like, how do you force them to be severe about it?
Well, I in a way, Thunderfoot's just another one of the asshats, right? So
right.
I mean, but this is the evil of this medium. It's like our democracy. What wins is some kind of disgusting lowest common denominator crap, so the game isn't you're not going to glean the best. You're always compromising. It's like a negative. You automatically kill the exceptional. You automatically kill the cream doesn't. You're not. The average is never going to be. It's going to kill everything above the average. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to represent that, and all it's going to do is better represent the stuff below it. So it's the democracy is almost corrupting in that sense alone, and I mean a bad democracy.
Right.
And that's sort of what the internet is, right? I mean, it's this horrible democracy where, like cable TV and the rest of it. I mean, you're only going to make money. You're only going to get eyeballs. If you're feeding these generic pigs, the ones who'll eat slop. So the slop producers win big, and so then you have this false sense of authority, where morons are dictating the agenda. So, I mean, the question to ask is where are all the scientists? Where are all the real credible, the people who aren't just talking way out of their field kind of thing? I mean, Thunderfoot doesn't argue high philosophical subjects. He argues petty politics, this feminism crap and Muslim crap, and he makes fifth grade evolution videos. You know what I'm saying? So what's the point of even having a PhD? Because you're not bringing any real authority to any of these subjects.
Well, more or less what I'm saying is, I mean, like, yeah, he's been pretty mediocre in the whole conversation output area, but through his mediocrity and all those people talking about the exact same fucking thing since 2006, I mean, regardless of what you think of these people, he has access to Neil deGrasse Tyson and P.Z. Myers and Richard Dawkins. You know what I'm saying? So how do you get fucking access to those people?
Yeah, well, I don't know if you can without being a sycophant to the same audience they're appealing to, right? I mean, they're doing the same thing, really. I mean, look at Dawkins, for example, right? He gets, people start whining about his title, The Selfish Gene, and so he attempts to recontextualize it, and all he does is use a bunch of babbling rhetoric to say in a very polite way, well, what I said is completely accurate, but if you want me to say ooey gooey gaga, I'll do that for you. So yes, jeans are ooey gooey gaga. I mean, he's just selling out his own ideology to simpletons who can't even comprehend what he's saying in his book.
I mean, I just wish you could because I know that they have like a higher level of, well, maybe not a higher level, but they have an extremely large understanding of a body of science that might be above and beyond this layman philosophy we have in this small YouTube community. But being able to press them on the question, like the questions that you bring up, I mean, do you think that it would come out to a magic sandwich type solution, or what do you think? Do you think you'd get a different fucking answer from Neil deGrasse Tyson than you would have gotten from Thunderfoot, is what I'm trying to say?
Well, no. I mean, I think Neil deGrasse Tyson is he's a bigger showboater than Thunderfoot. He's got both, you couldn't measure their ego with mere mortal tools. You'd have to go to some fifth dimension super plant to find a scale that could handle the weight of their egos. So yeah, I don't, I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson guy. I mean, he contradicts himself with whatever the audience wants him to do. He'll do. He'll put on whatever clown shoes and whatever big red, and he'll say whatever they want to hear in terms of this beauty in the universe crap and all the rest of this stuff. So I don't have much respect for his credibility.
I'm just looking up for opponents. I mean, like, okay, say that there is no opponent like that. Well, who do you talk to? Because you're trying to get your argument out there to as many people as possible, right? And even if most people disagree with it, at least it's out there. So if there's no real or opponent, I probably should be saying, then where are you going? You know what I mean? Like making arguments towards this fat retard you just drew a cock on his head, like, that's cool, but like, if you can't argue with Neil deGrasse Tyson, even though I'm not saying that you'll ever get the chance to, I'm just saying, who do we eventually present this to see what the fuck they say about it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You have to create a forum for that. So we have to make it a vlog. We have to create a vlogger dome, okay? 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. We have to create a show, okay, where they're real, where real stuff is at stake. Maybe there's a big prize, maybe eventually a $50,000 yearly prize or some kind of thing.
Right. So okay.
You seduce the warriors to the arena.
I was about to say that. I was about to say you have to play the game a little bit. I mean, like, I know that you're not a fan of playing the game at all, but somebody's going to have to play the game a little bit for you. You know what I mean? Because this is not going to be as...
Well, look, Jack Kevorkian 20 years ago had a public access style TV show.
Right.
I never knew about it. I never heard of it. Right? I mean, so here you have a really intelligent guy trying to do intelligent programming, and he got absolutely nowhere either. And then who debated him throughout the process of his, fighting for this right to die and everything? Nobody. He never get any rational debates. He just got yelled at by a bunch of talking heads and called Dr. Death. You know what I mean? So that, I'm not saying I'm better than Jack Kevorkian. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying Jack Kevorkian was an incredibly credible person. Right? Doctor. I'm not a friggin' doctor, right? I'm just a bum. So, even a man with his credentials couldn't even make rational arguments to human society without being slandered with some sort of Dr. Death bullshit.
Right, but he did have the added benefit to the philosophy, but not added benefit to his person of eventually going to prison for this and having it be highly publicized. I mean, short of you going to a police station and exploding yourself, like, how is this getting out there?
Colossal failure. I mean, going to prison wasn't being the definition of colossal failure. He was forgotten in prison. 7 years in prison. 7 long, hard, ugly years in prison for what? Being sympathetic to people's suffering. I mean, the fact that couldn't even be sold to this ignorant this ignorant society of ours, that our ignorant society couldn't even say, wait a minute, this is totally messed up. We got to fix this. President, pardon him now. I mean, the fact that this could happen. You go to jail for 7 years for being obsessively concerned with people's suffering. Oh, wow. I mean, that is just disgraceful. So you talk about failures. I mean, that was a colossal demonstration of just how impossible it is to communicate with the human race.
Oh, absolutely. But at least now more people know about that issue. Before, people were just sort of...
They don't know about it in any constructive way. So again, I just don't buy this argument that knowing about it means they know anything about it. Obviously, they couldn't care less. The man's dead, and nobody else. There's nobody taking his place. There's nobody fighting for the cause. There's nobody doing crap.
Extremely true. Extremely true. And I guess I'm coming at it from the direction of the word atheist maybe in many, many years ago really didn't have a foothold in the modern vernacular, right? But now there's at least enough of a foothold to where if somebody hears the word atheist, they don't automatically think witchcraft, right? So, I mean, if I asked my mom right now what an antinatalist was, she wouldn't be able to fucking tell me. At the very least, if there was something in the fucking news about a famous antinatalist getting persecuted or something, she would at least know. I'm not saying that's the best way to get the word out there. I'm just saying that how the fuck do you get the word antinatalist into my mother's mouth? You know what I'm saying?
I'm not too thrilled with the word anyway. I mean, I don't care.
Well, whatever you pick.
The word, I understand. Understanding the concept is the part that's missing, and that was part of Kevorkian's problem. I think is
right.
The first argument he needed to make is there's no God, idiot. Okay, grow up. We're the only ones that can control what's going on here, and it's absolutely stupid to force people to suffer because you want to put their suffering on an altar to a God. That's not your fucking right.
So what do you say to the people when it comes to that entire death subject? Like, I realize that one of the most common insults thrown at antinatalists and ethicists is if you don't like it, why don't you just kill yourself, right? But your counter argument to that is you're sort of addicted to the life thing, right? But do you agree with people who sort of defend their own life on the basis that ending their own life causes suffering to others, so you shouldn't kill yourself? Like, where do you place that in the argument?
Well, I don't think anybody has any obligation to live.
Right.
That's the first statement I would make. I think nobody should be obliged to live because it's going to hurt somebody else. I mean, those people aren't worth knowing, to tell you the truth.
Right.
If somebody wants you to suffer for them, I mean, come on. That ain't much of a friend, The hell with that. If they can't understand your pain and your need to get out, well, to hell with them. I mean, frankly. And then there's this other issue of when you're investing your own welfare in your judgment kind of argument. I don't think that one can be escaped. So until you're ready to tell somebody they're incompetent, it ain't your right to interfere.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, it's just so difficult to get those words in people's heads. Like, how do you broach the subject, even if you're not complete? Like, how do you make it? What argument do you have to make, or what do you have to do first to make it at least acceptable, even if you're totally fine and you're not encumbered and you don't have super double triple cancer and your fucking head's halfway exploded or whatever, and you just really just are just miserable all the time and you don't want to be here? Like, what? I mean, I realize that the first step is going to be giving people the measure to be able to end themselves when they have, like I said, super double triple cancer, but when is it going to get to the point, and what argument do you have to make to just let the person who's just miserable all the time but really doesn't have anything wrong with them per se to just say, fuck it, I'm out?
Well, I'm just saying, this is why it always comes down to this religious argument.
Right, okay.
Okay, because the only reason why there's a taboo here is mostly because of some religious notion that God made you and you can't insult God.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, right? Just like abortion and the rest of this stuff, it's not really about fetuses and people really giving a crap about them. It's that if they allow abortion, that's like insulting God's